Welcome, sentient beings from all known universes and beyond. It's time to activate your cranial downlinks and prepare to receive a raft of discussion on a cosmic ocean of science fiction and fantasy topics, interviews with local area genre devotees, and insightful prognostication by our soothsayers of science fiction, our forecasters of fantasy, and any other beings that happen to get caught in our gravity well. This is the Galactic Driftwood Podcast.
Hello. Good morning. Welcome to the Galactic Driftwood Podcast. Bill and Linda are gone today, so we're going to go rogue and do whatever we want. We'll talk a little bit about this, a little bit about that, maybe a little bit about what we're watching. As Jenna would put it, a little potpourri of what we got going on. So my name is Chris. I'm joined by...
I'm Seth.
I'm Charles.
I'm Jenna.
Charles.
Sorry, I often go last when
I
introducing
forgot.
Today I get to go first, so I
right.
figured I'd just throw them off a little bit.
It's all chaos. I thought he was motioning over towards me because of the way that
He was motioning towards you, at least from my view. So
that's in the view. You have to remember that we're not always organized the same way. And I was
We're gonna have to let Bill know next time that we're going clockwise from now on.
I like it. Maybe we'll figure out doing the Brady Bunch introduction thing or whatever. That'd be pretty interesting.
But then you have to do a little dance and a jingle and
What we got to do is we'll master it and we will record it and then we can just play it and then the intros are the same, regardless of whether you're here or not, which will be even funnier. Anyways, as we get started today, I figured we'd jump into the end of the Writers' Strike, the Writers Guild strike, as well as the Screen Actors Guild, who was also on strike for some time. All of that wrapped up kind of recently, back in September, but there was a lot of fallout as a result, and some shows postponed, some that were unfortunately canceled, and some that may still be up in the air. And so, as from a sci-fi fantasy type perspective, one of the shows that we recently talked about, The Peripheral, was one of those casualties where we're not going to get a second season, at least that we're aware of at this time. Was canceled maybe back in August or so, unfortunately. And there's quite a lot of things that stopped production or just halted altogether. And I didn't realize it went so far as to, if anyone paying attention, there's going to be a Beetlejuice 2, Deadpool 3, there's going to be a Gladiator 2, Mortal Kombat 2. These weren't necessarily canceled so much as they were, kind of put on hold. It's unclear where a lot of these are picking up again now. That the writer's strike is over. There's not been a ton of talk on some of these things, but that's how broad, a little bit of this impact was. And, I'll ask you guys, was there anything you were looking forward to seeing that we might now not get to see, or we've got to wait till 2024, maybe 25?
Well, I mean, I know I'm not happy about having to wait for Dune like that. The second part of Dune, that was... One of the big ones I was looking forward to. And of course, definitely looking forward to Deadpool 3.
Yeah.
But
so much. Oh, sorry.
Something like Deadpool is worth the wait because Ryan Reynolds has to be able to run that ship how it needs to be run. And had he waited for the strike, he would not have, because he's also I think he's part of the Writers Guild, he would not have been able to ad-lib as scenes would have come up. And there is no way in my mind that film was going to work like the first two if he wasn't able to do that.
I was just thinking the other night I need to rewatch Deadpool 2. It's got some really good bits in it.
It's one of those ones that as you continue, if you watch it over and over, you catch other lines in there. So it is a gift that keeps on giving. And so I was I feel like momentum for some of these films is going to get killed, unfortunately. To your point, Seth, Dune 2, you know, a lot of people can handle, much like when we had long time ago now when they released the Lord of the Rings films, kind of like 1 year after another. We didn't have a lot of gaps in between. You know, not to dig on Avatar too much, but Avatar's production for number 3 and 4, you know, was postponed, and I don't think anyone gives a shit, to be honest, because how long we had to wait for the second one. Like, you could go 5 years between them. People are like, oh yeah, I just thought this was like every 5 or 10 years we got another sequel or something. But yeah, Deadpool is gonna hurt. I think Dune 2 is gonna hurt maybe a little bit because, you know, a lot of time passes, and if they have to wait till end of next year maybe for a release, that's just gonna, you know, it's a whole 2 years or so in between releases, and that kind of, to me, kills momentum on some of those things, or interest maybe, you know. Yeah, it's gonna be a little weird, I think, seeing things come out way later than they were anticipated.
Well, and you just got to feel for the writers, though, and the actors. COVID shut so much stuff down. So we've seen the delays from that. And now with the strike, even though they were absolutely justified with the AI coming in to strike and needed to do what was best for them, if you're a lover of entertainment, then it's really frustrating or disappointing. But at the same time, I think it illustrates the value of entertainment. Like, people who are like, oh, entertainment's not an essential job. Artists are not essential workers to the human experience. Well, this kind of, I think, helps illustrate we need that entertainment. We need the stories to just feel good about whatever it is we're going through, and to have the distraction and the joy that comes with it. You can't just live off of like eat, sleep, and go to work.
Yeah.
How good would we have gotten through the pandemic if we hadn't have had our entertainments?
Oh my God! Right?
Like, people need to realize there's a writer behind every. There are many writers behind every piece of entertainment that you love, but and like, they aren't paid well. Like, professional writers do not earn a lot of money. The amount of people who can make a living by writing are few and far between, and a lot of writing is like gig writing, especially before you've cemented a career or a name. You're just going by on random jobs, and a lot of the protections they were going for were to protect people like that. And yeah, also they got some key protections against AI, because one of the chief concerns is that the studios would just use AI to bang out a script and then hire a bunch of gig workers to clean it up.
Oh wow!
Yep.
Yeah.
When they're not paid as well as they would have been for the first draft.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like, though, even because there's two different unions, the writers and the actors, it sounds like even though the actors got a better deal, there's still not enough AI protections in many regards. One of the things I read is that the studios could still potentially just make AI generated characters or likenesses, and then they just got to tell the union and pay them. Potentially work out a deal for that likeness, but they still have permission to go that route versus they have to use actors every time.
I think also one of the protections is that they can't just pay an actor for their likeness once.
Right.
So you can't just
royalty-based system.
Yeah, you can't just buy a bunch of actors' faces and then use them for background stuff for all time. They've got to. I think that now it's much more of a time by time. Like,
it sounds like they still have to vote on it, though. the actors and everybody still have to vote on it. So even though they're allowed to work now tentatively, like we could still see the strike come back potentially.
Charles,
So that would be
interesting.
No, I haven't been paying attention. I'm just, I can just see the union fixing it so they get money, but none of the actors do.
I don't think that's so much how the union works. Like, then enough of the actors and writers that I've listened to are very pro their union. So, like, they definitely, the unions are definitely like doing well by the writers and the Screen Actors Guild.
Hopefully, yeah.
But yeah, a lot of the strike was over AI, which is impressive to me.
Um,
yeah, well, it's a scary thing.
Do we feel was that in any way to get ahead of, like, did we see anything where AI was already being leveraged to cause a mass scale issue, or was it more of threats that was the direction it was going to go?
I think it's the direction that was going to go, especially with ChatGPT.
Yeah,
people were already pitching these ideas around. It wasn't just the writers like scared of a technology that's like, no, like I've read authors talking about how different publishing houses are wanting to use or are starting to try and put clauses in their big authors deals that they can train AI on their writing. For what purposes no one was saying, but as an author, that would make you a little nervous, right?
Yeah, I agree, and it's not. All authors at that extent should be looking out for those clauses, and just saying no to keep control of that. For lack of a better way to phrase it, that power that they have.
And I think
go ahead, Seth. Nope, go ahead.
Well, I think like what Chris was saying about power is correct in that like there's kind of two sides to AI and technology. And what we've seen as technology is increased is a reduction in the amount of power that these production houses and publishers have had and enjoyed, because it used to be they controlled the recording studios, they controlled the means of distribution, they were the only one with access to the industry professionals that could make a project happen. They could blackball you if you like got out of line. But with the internet, people can do their own recording. People can have their own production facilities. People can have their like talented artists who aren't beholden and owned by so technology is leading to the democratization of the entertainment industry. And I can really see the big production houses wanting to lock in their power and be like, okay, you guys don't play, you're going to be on YouTube for the rest of your life because we've already got the rights to your likeness anyway.
Right. And they'll just use AI to leverage the rest and do it. And they kick you to the curb essentially. So,
and they still get you to act.
Well, what do we think the future is going to be? Because you've just painted something that where I can see, because I've played a little bit with the AI, the chat stuff, and I can see ordinary people just going, give me a script, and then shooting a movie with their phone, and that at least being entertainment.
I don't know. In that future, I hear you. And I think what you'll find is, the AI will only get so far, and to some extent you'll kind of realize where maybe it is or isn't AI. But I still think to get to the level of what we see in really high quality production values, you still wouldn't get there without some type of of human level of effort. AI is a great supplemental tool to kind of shore up some gaps and speed things up, but I don't think it's a total replacement. Even so, like I've seen blurbs in
yeah, but it will do a fair share of the work for you, though.
Yeah, well, it'll try, but it might have some errors. It's trained on humans, and humans are error prone.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
No, you this time.
My turn.
Your turn.
I think so. The trap is it's only building off the data that's currently in there.
Yep.
So I think you're continue to see a lot of the same storyline in big productions because they know that sells, especially even if they're using AI, because that's what AI will generate. I mean, I think you're going to see a return to the penny dreadful, the dime novels that was basically the same story over and over again, just to turn a buck. But so I think we're going to see a transition where if you do have something that's unique, it's going to become harder to get it out. Not that independent films or independent music was easy to begin with, but I think it's going to go through a period where it's going to take more work and more funding to put something out there that doesn't fit the mold or the same universal tropes that give people warm fuzzies because it's easy and it's predictable. People say they don't want that, but I think a lot of literature and psychologists have shown that they do. They do like there's a large segment of the population that enjoys those predictable outcomes. Like when you see a rom-com, the guys and the girl are generally going to always hook up unless you're just feeling bitter and going through a breakup and you want to see the breakup. If you like action movies, the hero is generally going to come out on top. I mean, in horror movies, it's a coin toss whether or not you want to see the hero or the heroine actually survive. So, you know what I'm saying? You go to these films because you have a certain expected outcome that is going to take you on a journey. So those who want to turn those themes on their head, it may get harder to get noticed in the sea and the mass production of all of these other AI generated or typical storylines.
Well, so I don't think it's actually gonna be harder to be noticed. Like I don't see, like maybe there will be a glut of absolutely cheap content, but I think like there's already, like we can already see on YouTube, there is a glut of cheap content, but the cream still tends to rise to the surface. I've got a couple things to talk about, like in that vein, like when we're ready. But
let's jump into it. But I will say that the thing that I would like to see at some point going forward is, call it cheesy, but we have organic marked food. I think we're going to get to the point where we have to have some type of marker that says human generated content. Like a badge that it's been validated that this story is human generated. This movie full of humans.
To just flag anything that's AI generated. It seems weird that we would flag the human generated ones, but I see where you're going.
Yeah, I certified human.
I like organic movies. Yeah,
why am I the one proving I am who I am?
Like that art right now.
Yeah.
All the concern about the art flooding the internet that's AI generated. I want to know what's human generated. And I want to buy that art.
But I mean, it's like in the stuff that I'm looking at, it's really easy to see what is. I feel like it's still pretty easy to tell what is AI generated character art.
It is, but I scroll through Facebook and I see the amount of people that can't tell, and it's kind of mind boggling to me. And I don't know.
So weird to me.
It is weird to me too, but I do see it, and it is concerning to me when I see some of these pictures out there that to me are obvious. Hint, hint. A lot of times, just look at the freaking hands. But there's there's an interesting thing there that we don't have to dive into. We can do another AI video thing in the future. But to Jenna's point, here we are talking about flagging content as to whether or not it's human created or AI created, which I think is, kind of part of where this whole discussion kind of started in terms of like who's creating what or what is creating what. And that's kind
and
of
getting the credit for it and the payment for it.
And that's it remains to be seen where that's going to unfold into. I do think it's a concern from a creator standpoint. I think AI in general. I'm a fan of where it's going to help a lot in productivity, but I am not a fan of those who would abuse it, especially for a financial gain. Examples of that would be like fake. What's a good one? Like fake OnlyFans accounts, right? That aren't actually
Fake influencers.
Yeah, fake influencers, fake OnlyFans accounts, fake conferences, things like that, where people are collecting money on this stuff, assuming that these things are real. And frankly, let's be real. In a society where we struggle with information and research and things turn into misinformation, AI makes that inherently more magnitudes more dangerous to have to deal with. So we'll have to see where that goes. But I guess, Seth, was there something you wanted to dive into right now?
Yeah, talking about the cream that'll rising to the top. There's a couple really good shows there. There's actually a lot of really good, especially animated shows that are coming out via YouTube and put out on YouTube by independent creators, or at least channels and groups of independent creators. One of them is called Hell of a Boss. Or actually, first off, have any of you heard or seen Has Been Hotel?
No.
Okay, so this was the initial project of the creator of both Has Been Hotel and Hell of a Boss, and there are animated shows that are set in all my images went away. That are set in hell. So it's got this a little bit of Saturday morning kind of cartoon vibe, but it's also dark and a little dark and twisted dark comedy. Let me see if I can. Where's my share screen? Okay. So yeah, here is kind of this is just kind of the initial art, kind of a splash, but it's really, really well animated. Has Been Hotel, there's only the pilot for this one that ever came out, but it's a musical, and they have several really well-written musical numbers throughout the pilot. And the reason the pilot is the only one that came out is because this one actually ended up getting picked up by Amazon Prime. And they got a lot more money thrown at this particular project, and it's going to be coming in the pretty near future with kind of a really nice looking almost graphical or upgrade to the characters. They're able to pump some more money and get some more animators and really kind of put a shine on it, and that's coming out soon on Amazon Prime. But if you're looking for something a little different, this same creator, Visvipop, I believe is how it's pronounced. You can find their channel on YouTube. They also have a show called Hell of a Boss, which is set in the same world as Has Been Hotel, and follows an imp who starts an assassination business to kill people on the mortal plane. And it's goofy, it's incredibly violent, and occasionally way deeper, than I would ever give this show like that credit for getting into like themes of like abuse and healing from that abuse and weird unconventional relationships. It's a lot of fun, and they've done, I think, 2 seasons of that on YouTube now. I can't recommend it enough. It's really well animated. This one also has music in it, not as much as Hazbin Hotel will, but it's great, and it's something that wouldn't have happened without YouTube or like the current the internet and the ability for creators to get together and go, hey, you want to do something? Yeah, there's another show, and I don't have anything prepared for this one, but it's called Murderbots on a channel called Glitch.
I know that
on YouTube. Yeah, that one is kind of a horror comedy as well, set in a sci-fi future where all the humans caused some sort of accident on a planet they'd settled, and all that were left were the robots who were just like, okay, I guess we're free now, and went about making their own civilization until the home company on Earth sent in a bunch of murder drones is what it's called. Murder drones to kill all the free robots there because they can't have just like a civilization of robots. That's not good. But that's maybe the plot, because as it unravels, things get more twisty and turny and making you doubt what's really going on. So, like, I'm really enjoying that as well.
So I think this really jumps into, it's going to take time for content to come, new content to be generated with the strikes ending. So like, what are Seth has told us some stuff that he's watching right now to take up time until, the movies come out and the shows start their new seasons. Something I've been watching, I started on HBO Max, was 30 Coins, which is, from HBO Europe. It's a Spanish language, so you have to watch it in, subtitles, because the dub is actually hard of hearing English, which means I had actually not heard this functionality before. It describes what is happening, and then the people talk.
Oh, shit,
so like,
huh?
What?
It's Paul Giamatti. Is he like a main person in there? 30.
Not in it yet.
Okay. Weird.
But it's getting there. It's a slow build, because I like it because you're not sure what is this going to be about. And then by the 3rd episode, you start to understand what it's about. And the whole premise is a priest goes to a Spanish town. It's a very, very small parish where nothing happens. It's considered a supernatural thriller. And all of a sudden, things start happening. And as it turns out, this priest had been part of an exorcism that went wrong, and the person who was possessed died. And one of the crazy things that happened under the demonic possession was a coin just came out of his body, like out of his arm or something. And then the kid died of a heart attack. And so the priest has always kept this coin. And as it turns out, there's the armies of hell and collaborators in the mortal plane who want to collect all 30 coins that Judas received when he betrayed Jesus. And each of these coins have a power, because there's this thought that all dark things that happened are a part of God's plan. So evil deeds are actually good because they help people experience free will. So if this dark forces can collect all 30 coins, then it'll be more powerful than the Ark of the Covenant, and they can fully realize God's master plan of darkness that will help humans fulfill their potential.
We're going to make things suck so much that everyone's happy God exists.
Yes. I'm
not going to get never mind.
No. I mean, it's an interesting mythology, and of course, the priest is fighting back, and he's got help with this woman who's a vet who's trying to prove stuff wrong, and the mayor. And because it's Spanish speaking, there's the little telenovela elements, and you're like, which makes it spicy at times. But it's as a supernatural thriller from another part of the world. I've really been enjoying it. And if you like a little bit of horror, some of the creatures are like, no, no. So give yourself time to watch something else if you are really
watching we're going to bed. You room for a little Disney flick or something in there.
Yeah, or at least a YouTube video or two. So I would highly recommend that to take up some of your time, and hopefully people will watch it and maybe it'll keep going.
All right.
Yeah, I guess I can go over what I've been watching in the meantime. So for me, I'm real big into murder mysteries, thrillers, things of that nature. So Netflix is a pretty good selection there. So I've been watching quite a few. Some of them I'm on my second or third run through just because I like to catch maybe clues or things I didn't before. But, my short list has been a show called The Innocent. Also a show called The Woods, The Forest, Safe, and Bitter Daisies. These are all like murder mysteries. And a lot of them have pretty good storylines where you're not sure who really is the bad guy. And it doesn't fully unravel to the end in terms of the mysteries that are unraveled. All you know is that there's a lot of death, buried bodies, dismemberment, all the other kind of crazy things. And yeah, I do like a lot of dark stuff, but I like the mystery component of it, where there's either a chase or, an investigation that's going on and all that kind of stuff. So I watched that from the mystery and thriller kind of aspects, and some of those have been out for a while, or more recently came out. Some of them are foreign films, whether they're Spanish made or what have you. Some of them are dubbed okay, some of them are not. So a couple of the Spanish ones I've watched, I've had to watch in the native language and have the subtitles, just because it flows better. On the anime side, I've been watching Demon Slayer. I was late to start that, but I am very happy that I finally did start watching that, and that's been pretty great. That's well as I need to watch. Yeah, Demon Slayer is a 10 out of 10. It's very late to that. It's one of the best animes I've watched in some time, at least the last 5-6 years, probably. Definitely a number 2, number 3 anime. Dragon Ball's, I'm a Dragon Ball guy at heart, so that'll always be there for me. But the other one I've been watching is more of a heavy metal anime called Bastard. That, and Bastard's been pretty good, so I've been watching a little bit of that as well. So that's kind of where I'm at on like the geekly side of things, and I always actually enjoy a good cop show too. I'm a Law and Order fiend. I've been watching a show called Justified on Hulu.
Justified. Okay.
Justified's been pretty good. So it's been out for a few years. It's a few seasons. But that's kind of what I've been filling my time with while I wait for these other great sci-fi films to come out. So,
all right. Well, I just watched Godzilla 2 nights ago. Godzilla -1.
When did that come out?
I think it came out in late October. I didn't know it was out until I saw somebody.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
I saw some friends on Facebook go, I just watched this and it was great. And I was like, I don't believe it, but I'll go watch it now. It actually was a really good movie. It very surprisingly depressing. At least at the get-go. There's a little emotional roller coaster with this thing. It kind of pissed me off right at the start, but I'll get to that. But it's only subtitled. They're not going to release a dubbed version, which is when you watch it, that makes sense. But the part that I'm not going to give the ending away or anything, but right at the beginning, the hero of the story is a kamikaze pilot.
Okay.
Who wimped out.
Oh.
Right at the end of the war. And that's what the -1 is, Godzilla versus Japan, and Japan's just lost the war. So there's your -1, and his hero journey is kind of interesting because he's got most of his loved ones have been killed in by us, by the Americans, but the ones that are left are angry at him because he didn't kill himself. And so it's just like, as a horror, the beginning for me anyway was just like, I can't, So, and where's it going from? But I they work it out. It's still kind of an American ending, but it was a very upsetting beginning for me anyway. I'm not used to that as the beginning. As your hero being told that he's everybody thinking he should be dead. Yeah. And so, but anyway, the way they work it though is Godzilla. Right after he wimps out again when he first meets Godzilla, and so now he has PTSD from his interactions with Godzilla, and so that becomes a little more of a substitution for the war, I guess. But yeah, they eventually all have to take on Godzilla, and the rest of it's kind of what you'd expect. But it's an interesting movie. I was doing a little research, and I guess this guy just did a movie in 2019 about the Yamato, the construction. Which, if you're an anime person, it was the boat that Star Blazers pretends to bring up, right? So I'm going to be looking and seeing if I can't find that one. It's called, and now I've lost it.
I need to finish watching the remake of Star Blazers because that was really good. What I've seen of it so far. Yeah,
but anyway, he just did a movie in 2019. It's something about Archimedes is what they call it, but I'm gonna find that. I think that actually has a dubbed version. So I don't know what else I've got on the horizon. We're just gonna have to see.
So with the holiday season, what I would recommend, and it's an older film. It's from 2010. It's called Rare Exports, and it is a Finnish thriller horror spin on Christmas and Santa Claus. And I think it's something that we as Galactic Driftwood should probably watch again. But it's really cool to just kind of see something from that part of the world in terms of Santa Claus is not always a good thing, kind of like Krampus. But this predates the Krampus spin, where we start getting darker horror movies, this alternate nature of Christmas time that comes out of Europe. But like I said, it's called Rare Exports, 2010. Highly recommended for entertainment value. And then Reservation Dogs just finished its series on Hulu, and it's got some supernatural elements as well. But it's about these teenage Native Americans in an Oklahoma town just trying to find a way to, navigate their culture in a modern world, and as well as the poverty in their town, and they just want to get rid of it. They want to get away from it. They want to do something with their lives, especially after the suicide that we see in flashbacks of one of their friends who couldn't take the life anymore. But it's funny. It's got a lot of cultural elements. I highly recommend it. Great acting. from all of the kids and the characters that you might recognize from some of the actors from Dark Winds and other, movies. So I would check out Reservation Dogs on Hulu.
All right.
Or Violent Night.
I wanted to bring up Violent Night.
I already watched it. I'll be watching it again probably in a couple weeks.
I'm going to be watching Violent Night a few times this Christmas season.
So, lots of good stuff out there.
We just showed it to a friend for the first time, and she loved it too. So
Nice.
Awesome. All right. Well, let us know what you're going to be watching this holiday season. Comment down below what you're watching or how you're getting through, as things ramp up after this writer's strike. Or if you have thoughts on AI and where its placement is with these publishers and entertainment companies, let us know what your thoughts are. And I think with that, we'll wrap up here.
all right.
Thanks for tuning in, kids.
Yep, later, and go check out our other episodes on a lot of this stuff, which we talk about pretty regularly. So, yeah, we'll catch you guys later.
See you next time.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Galactic Driftwood Podcast. For more information and past episodes, please visit our website at galacticdriftwood.space or subscribe to us on YouTube. And now, please deactivate your cranial downlinks, collect your towels, and be sure to watch your step as you exit our gravity well.